Even after 2 years, you see here how they are excavating the debris, the bodies, even the valuables. It continued beyond the disaster duration, like 2 years is a long time. Compared to Bhuj earthquake in Latur earthquake, Bhuj earthquake, this is a very poor response in Haiti. So I just wanted to tell you that if you compare Haiti earthquake with Bhuj earthquake in India, Bhuj earthquake was managed very well as compared to Haiti. If you compare Haiti and Indian Bhuj earthquake to Japan earthquake in the same year in 2001, Japan earthquake was managed very well. Nobody died there except one person who died due to heart attack. But in Bhuj earthquake, around 20,000 people were was the loss of life, and in Haiti, 2.5 lakh people died in that incident with the same magnitude of earthquake. So who is better now? Japan is better than India, and Indian is better than Haiti. So it all depends on what is the capacity you have developed to manage the disaster, and how the human resources are skilled there, and what are the resources deployed, how the action plan has been prepared before, how the mock drills are conducted before the disaster. So here in Haiti is poorer than India, and India is poorer than Japan. So I just wanted to tell that thing with this example. So we'll go to the next one. Coming to Karnataka state, what is the vulnerability? I just wanted to tell you, taking an example of Karnataka. We have 15 districts and 15 taluks. 50 taluks are vulnerable to cyclones of moderate risk. So the shaded area here is vulnerable to cyclones and heavy rainfall. And every year we are facing the cyclonic impact, not direct impact, but
ಆಮೇಲೆ ಬಿಂದೂರ್ ಏನ್ ಮಂಜುನಾಥ್ ಸರ್ ಬರ್ಲಿ ತಡೀರಿ ಇವ್ರ ಏನಂತ ನವ್ಯ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡಿ
you should on the this one, please mute yourself. Just want to tell you about Karnataka. You can see the deficiency in rainfall, excess rainfall from the normal rainfall. See, Karnataka state is also vulnerable to drought as well as flood. So both are there at the same time. About 152 lakh hectares of land is vulnerable to drought. At the same time, it is also vulnerable to flood. So I just wanted to tell you that Karnataka state is vulnerable to floods, drought about 80% area. 23 taluks are vulnerable to landslides, which are coming under Western Ghats and coastal belt. We are also vulnerable to earthquake risk of magnitude up to 6.9 on the Richter scale. 12 districts are coming under that with 22% area. Moderate risk is there in earthquake. Lightning are almost 100 to 150 people are dying every year. Floods, 103 taluks were covered by flood last year, 2019. Almost every year towns are facing floods. Bangalore flood is famous. So all these vulnerabilities are there in Karnataka also. Just wanted to tell which are the kind of climate induced disasters. So we are also experiencing tremors every year in Karnataka state, earthquake tremors. This is the vulnerability of Karnataka to different to earthquakes. I told you 22% area is vulnerable to earthquakes in Karnataka state, and remaining area is less risk area. We have damages photos here. This is due to hailstorm. Hailstorm is another problem here in Karnataka. So in the month of March, April, pre-monsoon season, generally, both lightning and hailstorm are happening. So we ended up with loss and damages to the crops. You can see here papaya damaged, areca nut damaged, sugarcane, cotton, sometimes even other crops also, grapes also. Elephant attack, you can see here Karnataka state, elephant attack is there. So it came to Mysore and it has attacked the security guard. This is the elephant corridor in Karnataka state, Bandipur Tiger Reserve. So this area is vulnerable to elephant attacks because of many reasons. I will explain them subsequently. We can see human deaths due to elephant attacks. Human deaths due to wild animal attacks. Elephant attacks are more actually compared to other animals in Karnataka state. Every year you can see here 29 people dead, 12 people dead, like that. So totally 2018, 19, 26 people, 50 people, up to 51 people died here. You can see 2023. So this is attacks by wild animals and human deaths due to attacks by wild animals. And this is wild animals death due to human interventions. So maybe they are dead due to elephants are being poisoned, shooted, and sometimes electrocuted. So that is why more number of deaths are there. You can see elephant deaths almost every year as compared to other animals. You can also see that kind of human deaths due to human wildlife conflict totally. So these are the pictures you can see here how the deaths have happened, human deaths have happened due to elephant attack in Karnataka state, particularly Bandipur area and Nagarhole area. The last to elephant village. So the banana crops is completely damaged. So now let us discuss a little bit about the landslides that has happened in these Western Ghats areas. So I told you just now, 23 taluks are vulnerable to landslides in Karnataka state. I wanted to share this case study with all of you, which is also applicable to all of you, even if you are from Kerala or other state, Maharashtra. So similar situation is there here in Karnataka also, as far as landslides and floods are concerned. So we have road accidents, we have industrial accidents in Karnataka state. Like these are the areas in Karnataka which are vulnerable to industrial accidents. This is the situation of drought. You can see the drought in Bijapur district in Karnataka. This is again drought scenario. Mango completely dried up. Reservoirs being dried up in summer. Bijapur. There's a lot of problem for drinking water in Karnataka state in many of the villages. There is a further problem in Karnataka. We have a flooding situation where cattle are being floating in flood water at Krishna River in northern Karnataka belt, Bagalkoti district. Hailstorms in Raichur, Koppala, Bidar, Gulbarga, Bijapur, Chitradurga, Tumkur in Karnataka. You can see the kind of hailstorm size. In Indi Taluk, you can see how the hailstorm has caused havoc. So they are removing with bulldozer. Something happened. Can you see this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you see the PowerPoint?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
this is there's some slow internet, I think. Yeah. So I want to share. ಇವ್ರೆ So we are here actually. I want to share this case study of Bellary building collapse. So I just now told you about Karnataka status. One example of case study that one case study should be known to all of you how it was managed. So it was happened in 2010 actually. Everybody must be knowing Bellary. There was a building collapse, multi-story building collapse at early morning in the morning at 6:30 p.m. 6:30 a.m. Wrongly written there. 6:30 p.m. actually in the on 26th of January. So there was one more disaster on 26th January. What is that? Bhuj earthquake. So that happened in morning, but this happened in the evening, 6:30. This building collapse. So there were ground floor, first floor, second floor. All of them have collapsed like a pancake pattern. Fifth floor was there. Actually, third floor, fourth floor, fifth floor. It was, so most of them were resting on the ground floor. It's like pancake. So part of the building fell on the adjacent story also, causing a loss of life to the students. So this is one of the most disastrous event. That time you can see the pictures here. So this is the building actually. All five stories were just fell like a pancake. So then this NDRF was called because local administration was unable to manage it. National Disaster Response Force. So it was there in Guntur and they were called to do the search and rescue operations. So this is the picture of that. And they have that commander, NDRF commander, the entire immediately came. Within 1 hour he planned everything, made 4 quadrants. Each quadrant was looked after by one team. 24/7 the operation started. While one team was on rescue, other teams were in action. 24/7 they took and they rescued so many people like this. They were all trapped inside the debris in the building. So even on the ninth day also there were lives alive. So reason for collapse is no permission for fifth floor. Building was built on a marshy land. Poor planning of the building. Lack of approach roads on the rear and flanks. Poor construction materials. Uneven storing of the steel and cement. About 40 tons of cement and steels were granite slabs were also unnecessarily stored, putting the extra load on the floor, first floor. So the building was constructed like this, therefore the building collapsed. So that is the problem actually. So I just want to tell that this particular NDRF, which was in action, they did very good work, because on the ninth day also, they have rescued one person who was alive with his dogs. So that was the best response I can say by the NDRF. People were very happy with the search and rescue operations by the NDRF. You should also know that there is NDRF, SDRF also in Karnataka. Every state is having that. National Disaster Response Force, which was set up under the Disaster Management Act 2005, is working for all the states. They'll come and help us in Kodagu, Belgavi, Bangalore, everywhere they'll come and help us during the rainy season for flood rescue, even during any other disaster also. So NDRF, I wanted to tell you what they are doing. So I just told you one example of how the NDRF has rescued the people in building collapse. Okay. Now we will go to the Kodagu district. Kodagu. This is Kodagu flood actually. Kodagu landslide in 2018. You can see how this lady was stuck inside the building, old lady. So she was unable, she was not willing to come out of the house, saying that I will stay here only. I won't go out. But finally, this civil defense people forcibly evacuated her, and then after 10 minutes, the building collapsed. Actually. Their house collapsed. So such a mindset will be there among the old people in those areas, in the villages. So they are rescuing all the people there. So they are taken preventive measures, relief measures. Like these are the relief shelters in 2018 flood. So they were all rehabilitated. They were all evacuated to the safe shelters, provided with ration, food, materials, health facilities, etc. So why I am sharing this? Our team from ATI who are undergoing training, IAS officers, professionals, and KS officers. We in a team went there for 15 days. How this search and rescue operations and relief operations are taking place. We have documented everything and found that the relief operations were flawed, and some relief shelters didn't have adequate materials available for them. Pregnant women were also not provided up facilities. So these were some of the lessons learned from the Kodagu flood case. Then the plan, disaster management action plan, was remodified, revised for the next disasters. So please see that everything was prepared well before the disaster. In 2007 only we have prepared the Kodagu Disaster Management Action Plan. It was revised every year based on the previous disasters, but still losses and damages are continuing. So these natural disasters are bound to happen, but adequate prevention and mitigation measures are also needed to be taken up by the district administration. Otherwise, landslides do happen and floods also happen simultaneously due to heavy rainfall in this particular place, Kodagu. So, even many times, whatever we have constructed also end up in the collapse, like some retaining walls have collapsed. So, therefore, we need to redesign, and redesign the hazards, vulnerabilities, and then take up mitigation measures. So mitigation measure is very, very important in such areas. So some of them, they are taken up some preventive measures here. You can see here they have put up some sandbags and all, but it is only temporary. Permanent mitigation is very, very important. So like retaining walls, anchoring, nailing, using the local materials after proper stability analysis of the slopes need to be taken up. Otherwise, these things will continue every year. So they are doing something. Government of Karnataka is also releasing some funds to them for mitigation, like landslide mitigation projects under the mitigation fund, and they are taking up that. Let us go to the fire, sir. What is this? Flood in Bangalore city. It is famous actually every year. Very recently, last week also they were flooded due to heavy rainfall. And what is the status we want to see now? Why the flooding is happening in cities like Bangalore? This is Bangalore actually. We did a research study there, and we did investigation why flooding is increasing in Bangalore city. Some of these areas you can see this is how it is constructed. Culvert location near Shivaji Nagara. Here how you can see how it is silted with a lot of solid waste in the stormwater drains. So one of the reason for flooding in Bangalore is this. You can also see how the manholes are stopping the free flow of water in the stormwater drains, which will, you can see almost stopped here. So ultimately it will lead to flooding. In this place you can see here, this particular area, in this area, the bathroom, this particular sewage mixed with stormwater was entering, with snakes and all. So it means that our planning is not good. So we need to revamp these stormwater drains so that flooding doesn't take place in the houses. There are where encroachments also. You can see the stormwater drains are encroached. They have constructed and put up some shelter here. Stormwater only. Okay. This is Bismillah Nagar, Madiwala and all in Bangalore. So these are the reasons why the Bangalore is facing some of these problems in these areas. So you can see the kind of illegal structure built in JC Road. So these are the problems. Temporary stones, they put up something here and they built a big structure here also. These are not only dangerous, but also causing flood in those areas. Why I'm showing this? Most of the companies are laying pipelines across the free flow. This is preventing the free flow of water and also siltation. Even the BWSSB also, Bangalore Water Supply Board. So these are some of the reasons in Bangalore flood. In that year, they were putting up these sandbags to prevent the breaching of the water tanks. This is only some temporary. By spending 7 crore rupees, they were doing this. So what is the permanent solution? What is the permanent solution? Can anybody say among all of you? Is it the only way to stop the flooding in cities like Bangalore, or any other solutions are there? Can anybody give some light on this? This is what, these were the stormwater drains, natural stormwater drains. They have become like this. Restriction in the flow of water, culverts construction, manual construction, illegal encroachment, solid waste dumping, everything is happening. Of course, now they are taking up some measures under the leadership of the commissioner and all politicians. Some of the measures are taken up, but they are not sufficient. Still, why last week there was a heavy flooding there? Because of these reasons. Okay, every year there are flooding. These areas are flooded. This is the problem. So I have a video of Bangalore flood, but there is a shortage of time, so I will not be able to show. So maybe I think I will send it to you, and professor will give it to all of you. You can see that those videos. You can see the encroachments here. Can anybody go inside? What is happening there? No, nobody can go inside even. That is the problem. So the absence of proper town planning, properties are also built across the drainage lines. So you should see here, these are the, women should be empowered. We were giving training to women self-help groups also in Gram Panchayats, along with elected representatives, how to rescue themselves during the disaster by providing them mock drill skills. So like drowning, they are doing something here. You can see how they can say first aid. So they can also rescue themselves by climbing up the trees during the flooding. So CPR and even giving warning to all the houses during the flood. So these are some of the things that we need to learn at the local level, community level, so that community can respond to the disasters immediately, so that they can rescue themselves before the arrival of the rescue teams from the district or some towns. So in fact, community is the first responder, you can say. Therefore, women are trained, men are trained, then they will be able to do better thing because immediately they can act. Because they know the flooding situation, they know the hazards around them, they know what are the problems in their places, local areas. If they are not trained, if they are not empowered, they are not formed into teams, they are not trained properly, if they are not provided with resources like sports, etc., there will be more losses. Like just like I told you, one example of Kumbakonam, where teachers and students were not aware of do's and don'ts. Almost all the children were died in that. Therefore, empowerment of the children, students, community should be the top priority for reducing the disaster risk every year. Government of India has started something on this, like mock drill plan is there. We are doing some mock drills every year, Gram Panchayat, at the cities and all. But it is not enough. Actually, at the community level also, we should start at the Gram Panchayat level, at the school level, university level, educational institution level. For example, I say fire drill. So how to evacuate the building within 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes? Are you doing this in the universities, educational institutions? So mock drill plan should be there throughout the year. Every 3 months you must conduct. Why I am stressing this point? You know that WTC tower collapse. So that is a famous disaster, man-made disaster. Because of the mock drill they are conducting regularly in that tall tower, many people escaped within 3 minutes because of the mock drill plan. They escaped before next flight came and hit that thing. Some persons with disabilities in the 80th floor, they died in the next flight hit. Why? Because they were unable to escape. So these kinds of problems will be there in the disasters. Therefore, community must be trained. Community must be empowered. Who are all staying there in the local area. That is the only thing. Of course, there NDRF, police, fire, home guard, civil defense, all of them will come, but there are time they will take. So it is better always to train, to keep them ready for any upcoming disasters. Okay, that is the only solution to reduce the disaster risk in the local areas. You can see here the educational institution where we are giving training on how to extinguish the fire, how to utilize the fire extinguisher, how to construct a house, resistant house, earthquake resistant house, flood resistant house, cyclone resistant house, how to give first aid to the students when during injuries. So all these things are very, very important. If you don't do this, there will always be a problem. Loss of life, loss of properties. So you can always say development and disaster management should go hand in hand. Why? Why should it happen like that? Development and disaster management should go hand in hand. Can anybody tell this? This picture, by seeing this picture, can anybody give some reasoning on this? So development means what? Now you saw that Bhuj earthquake, in 2001. Bhuj was completely dilapidated, was completely destroyed. And what they did after that, they built it better. So now the disaster risk are reduced, and more investment came in, and now the Bhuj is resilient city, resilient area. So because of the better disaster management, better rehabilitation after the disaster, better development is taking place. So the city has become disaster resilient. Similarly, can you tell other examples at the local level from your side? If you have properly constructed the school building, proper planning, or educational institution or universities, and you have conducted proper investigation about the structural and non-structural risk, if you have formed proper teams such as first aid team, search and rescue team, fire extinguishing team, awareness team, IEC team, etc., then you are properly managing the disasters in the educational institution, and your school will be better placed as compared to other schools, other educational institutions. Just like that, whether it is a gram panchayat or district or town or city, whatever it may be. So that is what you should do. Development and disaster management should go hand in hand. Suppose it is your own building, suppose your own house. How are you managing disaster in their own house? If it is a multi-story building of two or three stories, how are you going to manage your own family in times of disasters? So during the disaster, at least you should have a food materials in place. Water should be in place. A battery, uh, torch should be in place. But charged battery. Otherwise, that will also go off. Maybe a generator and food for at least 2 3 days. Water for 2 3 days. Minimum equipment, radio for hearing the news. First aid kit with minimum medicines. If you are not having these in place, as in school or home or wherever you are, what will happen to you? There were many instances earlier in disasters. People were survived because of these facilities which were there in the building. Like I told you, Ballari building collapsed. On ninth day, some people were there alive. Even after the entire building was collapsed. So this is the issue. Actually, you must know that development and disaster management go hand in hand. In other words, we are going for dams, bridges, major infrastructure projects, roads, highways, etc. If the national highway is built without knowing the disaster risk like accidents, landslides, etc., disaster risk will increase. Just like what has happened in Shirur in Uttara Kannada district. So the landslide happened because of the unstable slope in that particular point. National highway was built by cutting the slope at 90 degree. So it became unstable, and during rainy season it collapsed. Landslide happened and people died there. So development and disaster management must go hand in hand. So you can say many such examples, you can quote many such examples reference to the infrastructure projects that are taking place very rapidly in our country nowadays. MGNREJ scheme is there. So they are implementing so many check dams, pump ponds, desalination plants, water bodies.
ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅಂತ ಬಂದಿದ್ರು ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಕುಡಿತಿದ್ರು ಯಾವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಾನು ಬಂದ ಮ್ಯಾಗ ಎಲ್ರಿಗಿದ್ರು ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಇರ್ತಿದ್ದಂತ.
Sir, once again, this is very important for all.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗಂತ
Please listen to me.
ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ.
Or you mute yourself. Please mute yourself. In your school, in your college, for example, your college is built near some water body. There is a pond, and your college is very near to the pond. Now, what is the risk due to disaster in your college? Can anybody tell? There is a pond, natural river or something, water body is there. Your college is very near to that. What is the risk of, what is the disaster risk there for your college students or teacher, whatever? Now your college has been built, it is a development. But what is the disaster risk? Since it is very near to the water body, very near means within a kilometer. What will be the disaster risk due to this water body? There may
Flood,
be
sir.
Yes, sir. Drowning.
Flood, sir. Flood.
Yeah, flood is definitely there. What are the other risks? Students may go and swim there. Some even if they know swimming, due to silt, they can get stuck in the silt. So they will not be able to come out, even if they know swimming. One student is drowning, other students will also go and rescue. In the bid of rescuing, they will also drown. So instead of one student dying, almost all the students who are going and rescuing them will die. Is it not the disaster risk due to this particular water body to your college? Yes. But who is going to give awareness to them that there is going to be a silt in the bottom of the water body and you should not go there? So your college has to create that awareness among the students. Suppose there is a high tension line going above the terrace. What is the disaster risk due to that? There may be electrical disasters. So that should be either removed or students should be created proper awareness about the electrical disasters. As simple as that, there is a old tree within your campus. I see many trees falling during rainy season. But old trees will also cause disasters in the university campuses, colleges, etc. So what should be the remedy for that? Trees are required, but old branches, old trees which are likely to collapse during rainy season must be either trimmed or removed by replacing with new plants. But you cannot do it alone, but you should get the approval from the forest department or the authorities. So if you don't do, there will be disasters, which has happened many times in the premises of the educational institutions. I'm just giving you one or two some examples how the disaster risk will be there in your campus. Your own chemistry lab where chlorine is stored like haphazardly, that had led to chemical disaster. Your library is there where books are kept, but no fire extinguisher, which is outdated, is not renewed. Fire extinguisher didn't come to the help. Sometimes it is there, but library staff didn't know how to use the fire extinguisher. Entire library engulfed in fire. So who is going to take care of these things? We are supposed to do this. We have to prepare an action plan. What should be done for the entire campus? Before the disaster, what we should do? During, what we should do? And post-disaster, what we must do? If you don't have this action plan in your place, in your educational institution, many students will end up in severe injuries and deaths also. I have seen many students, instances of many students falling during physical training and sports activities. Why it is happening? maybe epilepsy, and due to heavy heat, summer heat, they may fall unconscious. Some students may have heart issues, they may fall unconscious. So who are going to treat them and how they should be treated in the college campus? First aid should always be there. First 1 hour is golden hour, first 10 minutes, platinum 10 minutes. If we don't act within that shortest possible time, there may be loss of life. Later on, we can take them to the hospital, but you depend on the hospital ambulance. If you telephone, sometimes you should know the telephone numbers also, telephone numbers of the hospitals. So if they don't come on time, what will you do? So there is likely that the students may die, injured person may die. So you should have your own system of first aid, a first aid room, first aid kit, first aid team who can immediately act to the injured persons, do the bandage, ship them to the hospital by calling the ambulance within the shortest possible time. If we don't do this, there will be loss of life. Suppose there is a drowning case, there is an unconscious person in the college. What will you do? You should do cardiopulmonary resuscitation. So in the middle of the chest, by holding both the hands, you must give thumb compressions, this compressions, 30 compressions followed by 2 breathing. So if you don't do that, that person may lose life. Just because of lack of knowledge about the CPR procedure, the students may lose his life or anybody for that matter. So in one instance, what happened was there was a drowning case in one district, one place there in a rural area. So 4 students were there who drowned. They were all unconscious. In the same college, there were NCC students who were knowing about CPR. One girl was knowing CPR and she immediately started doing the CPR to the one of the students who were drowned, unconscious. But nobody other than her knew about the CPR. But she started doing only for one person, one student who drowned, and she could able to save the life of only one student because there were no many other students who were knowing about the CPR. But other 3 students died. Only one student was survived because of the CPR done by the NCC trained student. Now you imagine if other student there, imagine if there are trained students, trained a team in CPR in the college campus or in the educational institution, you could have saved all the other 3 also, other 3 students also, which was not possible. This is a real example I am telling you. So you must know the difference between development and disaster management, and should they go hand in hand. So therefore, I will always telling, watch the little things. A small leak will sink a great ship. So even a small hole in the dam also will collapse the dam also if it is unattended. Recently Tungabhadra Dam, ARS Dam, earlier this Koyna Reservoir in Maharashtra, there were some small holes, there were some small problems which led to the collapse of the dam. Then it was rebuilt in Maharashtra. All those problems were there. Okay, so we must see all these things. So I just want to say thank you for this particular session, and I will. Can you see this now? All of you are seeing this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
tsunami which struck South Asia wreaked havoc in Tamil Nadu also. The death toll in Tamil Nadu ran to thousands. Each affected village had at least over 100 deaths. The villages adjacent to Samiyapete, Pudukuppam, Pudupete, and Parandipete had 5 times higher number of deaths as compared to Samiyapete. So how were so many lives saved in Samiyapete?
On that day, a rice dealer, Jayalakshmi from the neighboring village, had gone to Samiyapete on business. She went to the beach around 8:40 in the morning, and a huge wave toppled her over. She looked back and saw a bigger wave approaching. She was scared and tried running away, but was entangled in some fishing nets. The wave crashed over her. Some villagers pulled her out of the water and put her on a boat. All around, she saw people holding on to the trees to save their lives. She felt that she would survive as she was in a boat. But then, the third wave crashed on her and she lost all hope. Anjappan, a local villager, saw the waves tossing Jayalakshmi around and called to her to hold on to a tree. As Jayalakshmi was being dragged back, Anjappan jumped from his tree and pulled her out of the slush. He immediately took her to the first aid center organized by the women. Jayalakshmi acknowledges that she is still alive only because of the prompt first aid given by the women of Samiyapete. Das, his father and brother had gone to fish very early in the morning. An inner instinct told them that something was very wrong. The sea was behaving strangely. They decided to return to shore. As they returned, they saw a deserted beach with broken boats lying all around. Das was among the 200 fishermen of Samiyapete who were at sea that fateful day. If they had been warned in advance, they would have remained on the sea where they were safe. Das reached the shore after the second wave had wreaked havoc. His brother tried warning him. Das and his family were swept away by the third wave. His mind to make his father hold on to a coconut tree. Naguran saw the sea being unusually turbulent that day and realized that he had a decision to make. Either he could take care of his family or go and try to save his boats. He realized that his wife Girija was perfectly capable of taking care of herself and their family. So he went to his boats. He got worried when he saw the choppiness of the sea and sent his son back to warn the village. Meanwhile, their daughter alerted Girija of the danger, and both of them ran, picking up whoever they could, all the while warning the villagers to run. The prompt action of Girija and the members of the warning group saved several villagers who otherwise might have been trapped inside their houses.
As the waves receded, the men rushed into the sea to rescue as many lives as they could. With their boats broken, they were forced to resort to improvised rafts of plastic boxes, broken pieces of wood, empty barrels, cut logs of wood. Suddenly, each person remembered distinctly all that they were taught. What was initially a joke to them became a matter of life and death. Meanwhile, the women set up the first aid center near the Roundtana. As the men brought the victims back, the women would give immediate first aid before they rushed the patient to the hospitals. Each member of the community, man, woman, and child, were actively involved in handling the enormity of disaster. By the time help from outside reached them, the villagers realized that they had already saved 50 or 60 lives.
எதிர்பாராத அந்த அலையில
யாரையும் காப்பாற்றணுன்ற ஒரு பயம் இருந்தாலும் கூட எங்களுக்கு இந்த பயிற்சி வந்து துணிச்சல் எங்களுக்கு அந்த உண்டு பண்ணுச்சு. சரி, நமக்கு இப்படிலாம் சொல்லி தந்தாங்க, இதெல்லாம் இப்படி பண்ணணும். அலை வந்து முடிஞ்ச பிறகு மயங்கி இருந்தவங்களையும் அடிப்பட்டவங்களையும் எந்த பயிற்சியாலும் நமக்கு கொடுத்தாங்களோ அந்த பயிற்சியை கொண்டு நாங்க மருத்துவமனைக்கு அழைச்சிட்டு போற வரைக்கும் எங்களால செய்ய முடிஞ்ச மருத்துவமனைக்கு அனுப்பிச்சோம்.
ஒரு பெண்ணுன்றவங்களுக்கு ஒரு துணிச்சலை கொடுத்தது, ஒரு நம்பிக்கை வர வச்சது, நம்மளால எதையும் சாதிக்க முடியுன்ற ஒரு தன்னம்பிக்கை வந்தது. எல்லாமே வந்து அந்த பயிற்சினால ஒரு தைரியம் சார். உள்ள இருந்த ஒரு அந்த கூச்சம், அந்த ஒரு நம்ம ஒரு பெண்ணு 4 பேர் முன்னாடி போகக்கூடாதுன்னு ஒதுங்கி இல்லாம சமமா, பெண்ணுக்கு ஆணுக்கு பெண்ணு சமமா. ஆனா ஆண்களுக்கு பயிற்சி கொடுத்தாங்க, ஆண்களும் இதுல ஈடுபட்டு செஞ்சாங்க. எல்லாரும் அவங்க சொன்னது பிரகாரம் எல்லாருமே திறமையா செய்து முடிச்சாங்க சார்.
We made comparison of Pudupetai, Pudukuppam and Samirpeta village. Even we have analyzed the number of deaths and the location of deaths, and all the data revealed clearly that this village, it was the variable which has worked is the training and capacity building of the people before the calamity.
In any disaster, the maximum number of lives can be saved only in the first few minutes. And it is only the affected community which can best take care of itself until outside help arrives.